Hello everyone, this is Gayle, and this is my first video doing a tutorial other than my Patreon video of 2020. I keep wanting to say 2020, but I think 2020 sounds better. And I'm in my new craft room, and the craft room is not finished. I was trying to think of a good word for it. I can get to my desk now and I can start little projects. I've got this room here that's done. As soon as I get some things moved out of here so I can redistribute some of the stuff that's in here, I will then do a video tour so you can see my new space. So today, first of all, one of the things that I noticed when I was packing up my craft room was all the different places that I had clay stored and how much of it I had, and I had a lot. So what I decided to do is to show you something. I don't believe I've done this before. I think I have done some Mokume Gane, and I have also done some retro canes, and I'm going to combine the two. I just picked out some colors. These are open packages that I had that I thought I would go ahead and use up. This is all Primo. I have gold, black, copper, silver, red pearl, and pearl. Now, what I want to do is make a retro cane, not a retro cane, but I'm going to start off like I'm doing a retro cane. And I want to use my extruder. I'm going to use my make-ins today. Let me open it up so that I should have done this before I got on the computer. But I'm going to be extruding maybe 2 different canes. I'm going to see how that works. I'm going to be using a fairly large disc. Now the shape of the disc doesn't matter as long as it's a shape that's got some good size to it. I'm not using the little tiny dies like I usually do. And I'm going to start stacking. Now all of these discs are cut at the thickest setting of my pasta machine. And I'm going to use the white just to add some color. I'm going to add the black to add some separation, and also the red just because I need a touch of red. So I'm going to start with my gold, and I think I'm going to stack 2 golds, and then maybe let me do a red, and I'm going to do a pearl, and then a silver, and then a black, and then a copper. And you just kind of put them in just randomly. I'm just going to put 1 layer there. I'm going to put, maybe I ought to make this 2 layers of copper. Then I'll put a layer of gold. And I might throw another red in there. And another pearl just to add some contrast. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. And let's see, let's do some silver. I'll put 2 silvers this time. You just need to change. If you look at this, you don't want it to be too uniform. This way you've got some thick slices, you know, as well as the others. And I'll put a black in there. I like black next to the silver. And let's see. Let me put another gold. And maybe a pearl. You just want to mix them up a little bit. Okay, I'm not using much copper, so let me put another copper in there. Actually, I'll put 2 coppers, because just the copper is kind of a muted color. It's not going to give you a lot of contrast with anything. And then I'll use the red. And let me see, how about a silver? And you just keep adding. Maybe I'll add another black. Now what I've done, I have a cutter, this cutter, which is almost the same size as my extruder. And I just found it by taking my extruder and finding one that, see, it just fits over the end. But if you cut these out and then when you roll it to put them together, it kind of mashes it in a little bit and it kind of makes it go into your extruder. Let me see. I'm going to put 2 golds here. And maybe another pearl. And have I done 2? Yeah, I've got 2 silvers there, so I'll put another silver. And maybe a copper. And a black. Now I think that's going to be enough for one. And we'll set that aside. Now this is going to be the end that is going to be at the top of my extruder. I'm going to put it in this way. And the 2 layers of gold is going to end up coating the outside of my extrusions. Whichever comes out of the extruder first is your coating. So I'm going to do another one using silver. And I'm going to put a red pretty close to the end. And a gold. I'll put 2 coppers. And a black. And a pearl. I might add another black just to see what happens with that pearl and the black. You never know with these extruded canes what it's going to be. So I'll put another silver. I want silver to be my predominant color this time. Pearl, red, silver, gold. That's why I'm only putting single layers of gold. And I'll put a single layer. Well, I'll make this one my double layer of gold. Then I'll put a pearl and then a copper. And I'll put another black. I want to make them about the same height. Don't have to be perfectly straight, but it does work better if they're fairly straight. I'll put another double silver in here because I do want that to be more predominant. And I'll just put a layer of black. Now the ones here at this end are not going to be quite as dominant as the others. Let me see. Let me do a copper and a pearl and a gold. You just stack them at no rhyme, no reason. They're about the same size. So I'm going to save these for another project. Just want to get them out of my way. I'm sure I'll make another extruded cane off camera, but that's okay. And then the red. Alright, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these and roll them together so that they kind of stick. And also it needs to be just a little bit smaller to go into my extruder. So this is the one with the double silver on the end, so I want that to be on this, on the there we go. And I'm going to put I've got my die in my cap. And you see there's the silver. So that's going to be the outside color of my cane, of my extrusion. It's not going to be a cane. And let's just see how the silver is coming out. It will eventually start changing to some of the other colors. Now you can make either a pendant, you can cover a box, but I'm going to show you what we're going to have here. Oh, I forgot to get my texture sheet out. Oh, luckily it's right here, my cabinet that I keep them in. And I don't have my gridded glass surface. I'm not really sure where it is. Let me just see. All right, I just cut off this little piece, but you could see where the red and the gold came out there. So, excuse me. I'm going to cut I'll cut 3-inch sections. And so that'll give me 4 sections. And you can put them together. You can look at the ends if you want, but it doesn't really matter. You can see all the different colors, and yet on the other end they look totally different. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to press these together. And I'm going to roll them. You might have to hold this. Alright, so I've got those rolled to where they're stuck together. I'm going to move those over. Well, I sliced off some of my cane. Luckily that's the back side. I also sliced my mat. I don't usually use this mat, but I found it and decided I may as well use it since I had it. But that's one. Now I'm going to take my extruder off the die and back this up again. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Only this one's going to have the gold on the outside. So that means I'm going to push the other end in so that the gold is there at the top. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now this is going to make it really interesting because we're going to have two sets using the same colors, but a different base color and a different arrangement. You know, there's so many things you can do with these extruded canes or extruded pieces. I keep calling them canes. I guess they're not really canes, because a cane is the same all the way through, and these are not the same. Let me just check to see, make sure the other colors are coming through on the gold. Okay, I only cut this much off and that's all red, so we're in good shape. And I'll cut these 3 inches wide, long. And you may have to straighten them out a little bit. They tend to curl when you're extruding them. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Going to mash them together. And let me get my texture sheet out of here. I don't know which one I'm going to use. I've got so many. But I need a deep etched texture sheet. Kind of like that one. Some of these are good, but they're not big enough to cover the entire. That'll be interesting. I think I'll use that on one. Now what I think I'm going to do just to make, well no, I think this will be fine. I'm going to do this one, and where's my water? Just spritz a little water and put a section on here that will give you the most interest, and really press it down into your clay. If you want to, you can take your roller and roll over it. Now that did good. And then I'll do the other one with this love letter. It's a Lisa Pavelka. But I think I'll go, well no, I'll go this way. And I like to at least start it by pushing it with my fingers to kind of get it down in the clay. Then I can take the roller, especially on these that you can't see through, and take the roller and go over it just to make sure it's equal pressure. Now that is kind of neat. Both of them are. So now I'm going to let me unstick this from the mat, see if I can do it without cutting the mat again. This one I'll leave on the mat. This is the one I'm going to shave right now. Now this is a very flexible blade. You can see how flexible it is. I'm going to curve the blade, and I'm just going to start shaving the top off. And all you want to do is cut off the raised areas. I don't know if you heard that or not. I've got my new phone set up so that it will read text messages off of my cell phone. And I just got a text message from my daughter. It announces it to me. Don't know what the message is, but I know I got one from her. But just keep shaving until you get all... I don't think you can see where I am now. And if you want to save these pieces, you can lay them on another piece of clay. But let me see if I can get this up where you can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's going to be a little far away, but you can see what's happening as you shave off these raised pieces. There's some right here I didn't get. And you can take as long as you want. Do you want it to be smooth? There, I finally got that raised piece there. I was having a hard time getting that. But just take your time. And, you know, you want to, of course, you can, when you're happy with it, you can go ahead and just stop and roll it with your roller, which I think I'll do, and I'm going to put it on here. Let me come back out so you can see what I'm doing. I'll put it on here, and I'm just going to go, well, first I'm going to make sure my roller is clean. And I'm just going to roll this smooth. Isn't that neat looking? That's what it looked like before. And now this is what it looks like. So I'm going to leave this here. Where can I put it? I'll put it over here on the glass. And let me put this one on here. And the thing is, you need it to stick. I'll do this one sideways, maybe, so you can see better. Might just curve your blade. Let me make sure this is stuck down first. Curve your blade and just shave. You see, I'm just taking off the raised portion. I'm not cutting into the clay. And just slide over a little bit and cut this section. And again, you just keep going until you've shaved all of the raised areas off. You would never know from looking at this that this was script, would you? Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can still see some of the script down there in the bottom. I'm going to have to turn it this way. Sorry about that if you can't see much of it. But I need to get these edges now. Can you see that this was script? If you look real closely, this gold still has the letters in it. And I'm going to leave that there and just flatten this out. And I'll bring my plastic back out. So now I've got these two pieces, and look how different they look. They're the same colors, put together in a different format. But anyway, one thing we could do with this is you could make actually, I'm going to turn it this way. And I think I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to flip them over. And I'm going to take a skewer or a little knitting needle or something. I'm going to press this into the clay. Then I'm going to take this and put it on top. Take this one and put it on top. Let me separate these a little bit. And let me do it this way so you can see. And now you have a double-sided, a reversible pendant. You can bake it on this knitting needle because it's metal. It'll go in the oven. You might want to fine-tune the sides a little bit. Depends on what you want the sides to look like. If you want it to be rustic, you could leave it like this, or you could pinch these ends together to kind of hide the seam. I'll do the same on this one, just pinch. And you're not trying to actually get rid of the seam as much as you're just trying to make it into a seam. just make it a little narrower there. But I do think I'm going to take this off. And maybe curve the top a little bit. And then maybe stick a toothpick in there to bake it. But that gave a really nice top to this. And you can wear it with this side facing, which is the gold side, I believe. No, it's the silver side. This is the gold side. I'm just rolling this because the toothpick made it, it's a little bit bigger than the knitting needle, so it made it rise a little bit. But that would be one pendant. And the other one, I believe I'll do the same thing. I kind of like that rounded top. And let me get my toothpick in there before I do anything else so I don't close up that hole. I'm just going to pinch this a little bit too. I kind of like it better when it's pinched just a little bit. Now if you want, you could take a little, let me see what I've got in here. I've got so many different dies. Let's see if I have a tiny little dash. I do. See, this is just a tiny little dash. What I could do is take this black that I have left, or you could do the silver or the gold, or the red. I think that's more than enough that I need. Put that into my extruder. As you can tell, I'm just playing now. Put the little dash, there it is, you can see it better, in here. And extrude some skinny strips. And if you don't want this to show, I kind of like this, but the sides could use a little help. I'm going to press this onto the toothpick. And I'm just going to use a tool. Where's one that I want to use? I'll use this one. Press that down all the way. Whoops, sorry. Like I said, I've got to change my camera setup because this is way away from where I'm sitting. Let me come in closer to see, so you can see what I'm doing. Focus. There you go. See how I pressed the black over the toothpick? And you can texture those if you want. Let me do another one over here. I find it easier to pierce this on my work surface because I have a better chance of getting it in the middle. If you wanted to, you could carry this across the top. But I like it just like this, so it's just covering the side seams. And I need to roll this because the toothpick rose up. And there you go. Bake this in the oven. This is Primo, so I'll bake it at 275 for an hour. I always do mine for an hour. But I like this rugged bottom, you know, the ragged bottom. I like that. It kind of gives it some character. There you go. There are your retro cane Mokume Gane. One with a trim, one without a trim. I may still do something with that. I may do something with some silver. Well, that's what I could do. I could roll some silver and some gold and put silver on the gold side and gold on the silver side. That would be interesting. But I'm just going to bake these the way they are. Pull out the toothpicks, then you can put in your cord of whatever kind of cord that you want to use. And there you go. Let me put the two sides together. There you go. Hope you like this. I need to use up some of this excess clay that I've got sitting around. And I was trying to think, I thought, well, I could do some Mokume Gane. And then I thought, well, there's different ways to do that, of course. And I came up with this idea to just extrude it. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back again soon with another polymer clay tutorial. Bye-bye.